sit. So I always have her sit before I open the door. And I know that you live in an apartment, but we are using this doorway. We have a house here. And I have her sit, I step out, I step back, okay, she walks through with me, and on the outside, sit and release, go, while I close the door. And there's, depending on whether your door self-closes or not, maybe you don't have to do that. But if you walk out, maybe you do just like this. So she sits, she walks out with you, okay, and you close it like that, and then you keep going. And now we're gonna have her wait at a few other boundaries before we start the walk. Now we're coming out onto the street, and we're having her wait at this boundary, this gate. See how she waits? Every boundary I have her wait at. I go back, no, if she even starts, so she started to get up, and I said no. Just gently but firmly put her back with just a little tap of the leash. Now she's waiting for me, okay. I'm gonna do that little turn to close the door. Always turn into her. And then we're gonna stop at this curb here. And you have different types of boundaries. Sit in your environment. You have doorways and you have stairs and you have elevator doors. But you can use this at every boundary, and since you have been having an issue with her being out of control, not listening to you, and just generally being out of control, this is the way that you gain control of her. Okay, we're still not starting the walk yet. See, she went ahead of me. She went to rush out there. She's such a little teeny tiny dog. All you have to do is not let her pull you around and just do little taps. There's no special collar or equipment, anything. It's just a regular little collar with a 6-foot leash, and I'm just literally, it's little more than a flick of the wrist. Sit. Now we start the walk. Cross the street in training mode. Start the walk. The leash is always loose. We're having her sit first. The leash is always loose. No, make sure she waits until you pat her chest and say, nope. Go. And now she's free and we can start the walk. But if you have her wait at all the boundaries, starting on the inside of your apartment, she's going to be way calmer when you take her, for example, up on the roof to the dog park or out on the street for a walk, or wherever you're taking her where she's getting excited and out of control. And even in your place, when you're not walking her, you practice these. You can walk around the house and just take 3 minutes a day and do boundary training at all the doorways, the kitchen, the bathroom, the different rooms, and make sure you do exactly what I was doing here. I just use the boundaries we have in this neighborhood and our training house here. But a boundary is a boundary, and we're going to keep doing it. And you just do those things every day. It's not about spending a half an hour a day. It's just about the quality of how you handle her. You have to handle her this way to get what I have. If she goes back to you and you don't do the things that I'm showing you on the video and I show you in person, she'll go back to the way she was with you before the training. So that the dogs always behave according to how they're handled by the person at the other end of the leash. She could be trained, the best trained dog in the world ever, and if that person doesn't use the training, she's going to go back to the way she was before because she can. So you have to use the training. Okay. Okay, so we've taken a nice little relaxing walk. She's on free time. Now we came to another curb. Come. Good. I take the leash, I step into her, walk her up to the curb, sit. We're going to cross the street here. It's kind of a busy street, although it's a holiday weekend, so it's not crazy busy, but we do this every day. We've been practicing right here. And sometimes it's really super busy, like it is in the city where you live. Do the walk around sit stay, she waits. No, make sure she waits until you say, okay, and you cross the street. And the way you're going to cross the street is you don't let her drag you across the street or pull you. Let's go. Okay, we're going to make it. See how I'm walking her across the street? In training mode. And if she wants to pull, I'm just tapping a little bit. When we get to the other side, sit. Go. And she's free. We get to continue our leisurely walk. But the calm zones are from the curb across the street, and then she's free again. So we have her in a little sit, in a real busy place. And we practice every day. We have been for a while, practicing in public where it's really busy, so that she can learn to be calm in the presence of distractions. And we have a lot of them here. There's a big one. I wonder if she can stay in a sit stay as it passes by. That was really good. So the byproduct of being able to stay in a sit stay or a down stay and focus on me and focus on her work, which is the down stay or sit stay, the byproduct of that is when she's on free time, she's a little bit calmer. So we build the dog up by practicing with ever increasing levels of distractions around them, so that gradually we make them calmer and calmer and calmer, give them more and more of ability to focus with people walking past and things happening, and she deserves a treat for that. So the way I always reward her, see how I have it in my hands like this, straight down, see how she's looking up, this is really easy. Oh, but she's not allowed to do that. And of course I wouldn't, if we were training in real life, I wouldn't be talking a lot, I'd just do it. I would have said one word so far, that would be sit. So now I'm going to reward her. Good. Just straight down like that, reward her. And I dropped a little bit on the ground, but she has to wait till I release her. And I'm going to just pat her little chest and say, go! And now she's free. We're just going to hang out for a minute, and then we're going to practice a downstay. You see how calm she is with all these goings-ons around her, just because she got used to it. And this is a great place to practice, some place where there's people, but there's also wheels, and we also will see dogs walking past on leashes, and everything is here. So it's the best place to practice with her, to make her as calm as possible, so we can bring her back to you and you can continue it. And hopefully she's easier for you to handle because of all the work we've done. Down. If you're going to practice a stay somewhere, it's obviously a bit more comfortable for the dog to be in a down than a sit, especially if you're going to have her be there for a longer period of time. So if you're gonna do, this is a noisy distraction walking past. Go ahead. And we're just gonna see what she does. She stayed there. Sorry, sir. Yeah, never mind. Okay. So this happens, of course, but that's okay. See how she popped up? And I just put her right back. Good. She was gonna be okay with the cart, but she wasn't gonna be okay with the man with the flip-flops walking right up to her. I mean, she could still be made a lot better, but it's just about time. So if I had her longer, I'd make her better. But I think you can easily do this. Anybody can do what I'm doing and practice down stays and sit stays in public. And of course, I'm going to help you do this if you want to do this, because it will make her a lot better. Oh, we're not even here. Yeah, thanks. And you want to have this kind of focus on you, because also another aspect of this is if you practice just a little bit every day like this, good. She's going to start respecting you in general more. That means that less jumping on you, less whatever craziness was happening before where you couldn't control her. There'll be less of that now, because her perception of you will change because you do this stuff with her every day. If you do my moves, for example, another way of putting that is if you do my moves, then she'll start to perceive you more as she perceives me. She doesn't jump on me. She doesn't act out of control. If I say come or sit her down, she does it right away. There's no way that she can be rambunctious and cause trouble, jump on you, scratch you, whatever it is, if she's in a downstay or a sit stay. It's impossible to jump on you when she's in a downstay or a sit stay. So that's why you want to practice these things, and she has the ability to do it. And that, no, the one trouble she might have is when we're done with it, she anticipates, oh, we're done, I'm going to get up, and she'll anticipate it and pop up before you release her. So you always make sure that she waits. And the way you release her out of downstage, you come back next to her and you say, okay, and say sit, and always release her from a calm sit stay. Like this. No. Go. so that she's calm when you release her, and so she doesn't pop up out of a downstay and run around and kind of destroy some of that calmness we're trying to put into her by doing it this way. Okay, let's go for a walk. We are just walking her through the store, and I don't know what your experience has been walking her in public where, you know, there's a lot going on, but we practice this every day, sometimes in stores that aren't so busy as this, but this is a place I'm videoing because it doesn't get any crazier than here. And as long as you just make sure that you're tapping the leash a little bit, she's not pulling me, and she's very well behaved, and I can always say, come, and she'll come back to me. Good. If I don't have a treat, if it's an emergency, pretend like you have one. Come, and she'll come back to you. Good. And I can scoop her up, and you can scoop her up if you want. Now, putting a harness on her or a vest is not going to be an issue because she's not trying to bite you when you put it on or take it off, but it's just as easy to use this little collar that's not going to come off, and when you call her to come to you, come. Good. You scoop her up like that. It just means you reaching down a little bit, like 3 inches lower, 4 inches lower, to scoop her up just like that. So you can always do it that way as well. Okay, let's continue our walk. This is a real busy place. This is where people are coming in and out with their the things that they bought. So it's a good place to practice. We might just stand here for a minute. And it's a great place to practice the come command. And you've seen me do it a bunch of different times, but I'll just break it down for you. I always practice it the same way. This loop leash is just around your wrist. It's really easy, and then you have your hand free as well. Hey, how you doing?
How you been?
Haven't seen pretty good. How have you been?
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
All right.
It's just really easy, and your hand is free as well. And you want to keep that leash loose. A 6-foot leash is really important. That's okay. Really important because if it's shorter than 6 feet, it's more likely to be tight. And a tight leash is your biggest enemy with any dog. A tight leash and always restraining her or letting her pull causes stress in the dog. If that's always happening and she's pulling you around, she's going to go home, and even off the leash, she's going to be stressed out. So you see the benefits of handling her on a loose leash and just the way she is overall. 24/7, if she's walked a lot during the day and she's not dragging you around and there's not a tight leash, she's going to be calmer overall during the day. We have somebody running, just keep filming, we have somebody running past with a cart. That's good. Come. Good girl. And I could just pick her up if I wanted to keep her safe if I was in a place where there was too much going on. But I'm always backing away as well when I practice the come command. Come. See how I always back away? Good. And I have something. That time I didn't have a treat, but you can pretend like you have a treat, and she'll always come to this closed hand. So always call her to this. But when you're practicing, always have a little treat. Come. Good. That's just the way you do it. If you back away just a little bit, it will draw her to you. She'll race to you. And if you always practice that way, then, you know, in real life, when you can't back away and your back's to a wall or something, I'm going to wait till she goes away from me. Come. Good. She'll still run to you because of the way you practiced. So you practice by just backing away a little bit every time you call her to you. When you back away, the dog is drawn to you. So much better than practicing when you're standing still. And then you practice that way when you can. Always with the leash, of course. You're always practicing with a leash, unless it's an emergency, and of course that's not practice. But because you do it that way, when you can't back away, she runs to you. So it's all about how you practice that matters. And that's how we've been doing the come command. Okay, let's go. And now we're going to bring out Biscuit, and they haven't been out together today yet, so we'll show you how it starts, all the excitement Biscuit has, and how we handle Biscuit with Muffin when she's excited. Okay, so you have the training video with Biscuit already, and how when I'm training her on leash, how I bring her out. I'm not doing it that way today. I'm just bringing her out. I'm going to let her be down there just without any calmness or anything. Just put her down. And of course, she's going to do that a little bit of that. Oh, she's going to run over to the camera person. She's going to run over to me. So if she's acting out of control, and see how Muffin just wants to be away from her, and it's, not Muffin's fault, of course, because Muffin is very sensitive, doesn't want to play. She's getting older and fragile and doesn't want to be bothered by a young, active, hyper little dog. But if she's bothering Muffin, come! You got to call her to come, and you got to scoop her up. Like, she's so excited right now, she doesn't even want the little treat that I'm giving her. So you have to use your commands, because if you don't, she's going to just think that it's okay, and she's just going to harass poor little Muffin if they're loose together. And this is as bad as it would be, because she hasn't seen Muffin or been together with Muffin loose in the yard since last night. So that's why I saved this time to show you worst case scenario. And it'll probably happen again. And this is off leash. You got to show that. Come. Good. I don't know if you noticed that, but she touched Muffin and then was already coming back to me before I said the COME command, because I've done it so many times. And I want to get Muffin over here. Come. Here she comes. So I got Muffin over here. So we'll show you again. Where are you going? Muffin's over there. Muffin's over here. Okay. So what happens, you practice this kind of stuff every day, and you become more important than Muffin. You become more important to both of them than really anything. The only reason Muffin's not hanging around me is because she wants to stay away from Biscuit, because Biscuit's a bit much for her. So you need to use the training to keep Muffin from getting harassed. She's just a really easy target for a young hyper dog. It becomes her toy. Come! See, they did it again. You got that, right? Good. Good. So that's what you're going to do. And you just make sure you love her up. And for a while, you're going to do what I'm doing now. Because you had the opposite thing happen with you at your house before I came into the scene. And if you don't do what I'm doing here, what I have been doing here, then they will just... Now, Muffin's barking at something nobody else can hear. But they'll just go back to doing what they did before if you don't do what I'm doing. It'll just all go away, and they'll go back to that before. So we have all the gang together. So this little dog, Biscuit really goes crazy for this little dog. This is a little teacup Yorkie that she really wants to bother, and she'll totally ignore Muffin when this little dog's around. So this is what happens, and then I still can say, come, and call Biscuit away. Get her out of the mix if she's bugging another dog. So let's let it happen again. So this is first time she's actually seen this dog in a day or two. And I'm going to walk way over here. Well, actually, they'll follow me, but you see how she's really bugging this little dog. Come. Good. Good. There you go. He deserves a treat too. This is harassment. Let's try it one more time. Good. And this is off leash, which is harder, of course. Come. Good. So take your little pieces of chicken or your little hot dogs, whatever they are, to the dog park, any place where you're going to see other dogs that she's going to bug. I would recommend you let her stay on a leash, let her drag the leash around, because then, I can do it here. I've been practicing for a long time, but I think you might need a little bit of help. So I'm going to show you how to do it with the leash, because it's so much easier if she ignores you. Come. She's not doing. But if you said come, and so let's let him play, and I'll pretend I called her and that she didn't come to me. So she's going crazy with a dog or a couple dogs. I called her to me. She ignored me. You stand on that leash. You just bend over, you pick it up, And then you have Biscuit. Come on, let's go. And you can pick her up and get her out of there. So you have a plan A and a plan B. Let's do it one more time. See, she's crazy about this little dog. I know a way to do this long distance. Let's go. Let's put him up here because this little dog can't get off the porch, and that way I can go way over here and practice from a longer distance with Biscuit. Of course, you know, we do this every day, so she's just watching, waiting for me to call her to come. Come! Good girl, but that's what happens at your house if you practice it every day. But you don't have to do what I did, which was to teach her this. She didn't even know this. You just have to continue what she already knows. And the thing about delivering the dogs back to the owner is the owner has to do my moves. And if you don't do them and you just do what you did before, she's going to go back to doing what she did before. So she knows how to do this, but it's just like a car. Somebody has to drive. Somebody has to manage her, use the system. And you can see through the other videos, she has really solid down stays and sit stays as well. And just do that. Just practice 3 minutes a day. Do a sit stay, do a down stay, each time in a different place. And use your come command. Have little rewards for a while. So now I don't need a reward. She doesn't know that there's nothing in here. Good girl. She doesn't know it was empty. So that's the way we trained so that you don't need treats later on in an emergency. Just pretend like you have one. Draw her, scoop her up. But when you do practice, always use a treat. And then when you don't have a treat, it'll always work. Ready? Okay, one more thing I want to show you. Sit. You saw how really excited Biscuit would get in the presence of this little guy here. So, and Muffin wants to join in. So we're going to practice a little training with Biscuit and show you that she has a good little sit stay. If you tell her to do this and you practice with her, she can handle doing this, and I put the little dog up there because if I didn't, he'd be jumping all over her. But she can do this stuff in the presence of a lot of distractions. If she pops up like that, because obviously I'm talking a lot and I didn't reward her, you say no, and you just do your little circle, put her back, because you have to make sure whenever you're practicing this, you have to make sure she really waits until you release her. And of course she gets really excited. She loves this little guy and just wants to jump all over him, as you have seen. So she's finishing that sit stay good. She gets a reward, and then she has to wait. Go. Now she's free. She wants to go up and play with him. Now we'll practice a down stay. Okay. Because you want to always alternate sit stays and down stays. And I'm going to do it with her facing the other way. Down. So I always practice with the distraction on both sides. So before, with the sit stay, we were practicing with the big distraction on her left, and now we're practicing with the down stay with the big distraction on her right. So she can always handle it from both sides. And if you just do this every day, which would take you less than a couple of minutes a day, in the presence of some sort of distraction, and if she pops up before you release her, you say no, and just do that, and she'll go back. You might have to stand there for a second because she's going to test you when I'm not there, because she's going to try to get you to go back to doing nothing or whatever you did before. And you have to show her you're going to be strict with her like I am. Good. The dogs are not, nope. And if she pops up right after she got the treat, which is really common, because that's what she was used to doing before she came to me, you just say no and put her back, just like that. So the dogs are not polite, and if they think that they can get over on you and manipulate you, or if they keep ignoring what you want them to do, that you will give in and they don't have to do it, they'll get worse and worse and worse. So you really have to be very on point with them. Good. Very consistently laser beam specific. You only get up when I come back next to you and I say, whoops, that was an accident. When I say okay, and then sit, and then go. So there you have it. There you have Muffin in the presence of little distractions. And you see that if once you do a little bit of this in the presence of distractions, she's calmer just because of that. So you should keep trying to keep doing this stuff every day once they're back home with you.